Hey everyone, you're watching RAWREVEALNETWORK, your trusted source for all WWE matches, rumors, and updates. Hit that bell and let's dive in. Monday Night Raw started like any other night of high-stakes energy and roaring fans. Seth Rollins and his faction stood tall in the ring, celebrating a recent victory that seemed to push them closer to their goal, ending Roman Reigns' dominance. For weeks, Seth had rallied his group around the idea of balance, justice, and breaking free from the Bloodline's chokehold on WWE's main event scene. But what unfolded next would turn triumph into tragedy and expose how fragile alliances can be when ambition, ego, and betrayal collide. Roman's master plan unfolds. When Roman Reigns' music hit, the entire arena changed. The tribal chief walked onto the stage with his ever-calculating advisor Paul Heyman, his enforcer Solo Sikoa, and the unpredictable Tama Tonga. But there was someone else. A figure shrouded in a hood, standing silently behind them. This was the mysterious partner fans had been speculating about for weeks. Roman didn't waste a second before delivering one of his signature, razor-sharp promos aimed directly at Seth Rollins. He spoke with that calm, almost regal tone that hides a storm beneath every word. Seth, you've been running your mouth about loyalty and leadership. You think your little faction can bring down the bloodline? Tonight, I'll show you what happens when you build your house on trust instead of power. The unmasking that shook WWE Roman turned to Tama Tonga, giving him the signal. In one motion, Tama pulled back the hood, and the arena erupted in disbelief. The mystery partner was not a returning legend or a new recruit. It was one of Seth Rollins' own faction members. Someone who had been standing shoulder to shoulder with him just a week earlier. Someone he trusted. The shock on Seth's face said it all. His jaw dropped, his eyes went wide, and for a brief second, the architect was speechless. This wasn't just betrayal. It was personal. The betrayal explained. When the betrayer finally spoke, their words were cutting and real. Seth, you talk about loyalty, but this faction was never about us. It was about you. You built this group to fight your personal war against Roman, and the rest of us were just pawns. Roman offered me something better. Respect, opportunity, and a real seat at the table. Why should I stay and fight for someone who only fights for himself? The crowd gasped, not because the reasoning was villainous, but because it sounded heartbreakingly true. In that moment, WWE fans saw a story of ambition colliding with loyalty, where one person's dream became another's prison. The bloodline strikes. Before Seth could even react, Roman raised his hand, the universal sign that chaos was about to begin. In seconds, the bloodline and their new allies stormed the ring. What followed was one of the most orchestrated, vicious beatdowns in recent Raw history. Every move was deliberate. Every strike was planned. It wasn't a wild brawl. It was an execution. The betrayer's insider knowledge turned Seth's own playbook against him. Members of his faction were isolated and dismantled one by one while Seth tried desperately to fight back. But the numbers, and the betrayal, were too much. The fall of Seth Rollins' faction. By the time it was over, the ring looked like a battlefield. Seth's faction lay in ruins, some members injured, others emotionally shattered. The fans watched in stunned silence as Roman Reigns stood over Seth's fallen body. The tribal chief didn't need to say much. His smirk said everything. Then came the final dagger. The betrayer stepped forward, looked down at their former leader, and said, "This is what happens when you build something on ego instead of loyalty. Roman builds empires. You build fragile dreams." It was the kind of moment that defines entire storylines, where personal pain becomes public spectacle. The emotional fallout backstage. The fallout was immediate. Reports began circulating that several members of Seth's faction were demanding changes. Trust had been obliterated. No one knew who to believe, and everyone feared being the next target of Roman's psychological warfare. Seth Rollins, once the visionary of unity, was now the man who couldn't keep his team together. The parallels to his own history, his betrayal of the Shield, weren't lost on fans or wrestlers. The same pain Seth once caused his brothers had now returned to haunt him. It was poetic, brutal justice. Roman's mind games reached new heights. Roman Reigns didn't just destroy a rival faction. He exposed a fundamental weakness in WWE's entire landscape. He proved that power isn't just about brute strength or championships. It's about control. Roman has mastered the art of psychological warfare. By turning one of Seth's trusted allies into a weapon, he sent a chilling message to the entire locker room. No one is safe. Your allies today could be mine tomorrow. This isn't the Roman who simply wins matches. This is a strategist who wins wars before they begin. Tama Tonga's ascension. Tama Tonga's role in this chaos can't be understated. Once seen as a wildcard addition to the bloodline, he's now cemented himself as one of Roman's most valuable lieutenants. His work behind the scenes to recruit the betrayer and orchestrate this plan shows a sharpness that rivals even Heyman's manipulative genius. This was Tama's statement to WWE. He's not just muscle. He's a tactician, and that makes him infinitely more dangerous. The moral dilemma of betrayal. What makes this storyline so powerful isn't just the action. It's the emotion and moral conflict underneath. Fans are split. Was the betrayer wrong for turning on Seth? Or were they simply doing what Seth once did himself? Choosing ambition over loyalty. Their explanation about wanting opportunity resonates with anyone who's ever felt overlooked. Maybe this wasn't evil. Maybe it was survival. And that gray area is exactly why this betrayal feels so human. The psychological damage to Seth Rollins. For Seth Rollins, this isn't just another storyline loss. This is personal implosion. The man who prided himself on rebuilding WWE in his own image now finds himself surrounded by the rubble of his own creation. Every promo about vision and change now rings hollow in the wake of betrayal. The pain in Seth's eyes after the segment wasn't just acting. It was storytelling at its purest form, reflecting the heartbreak of a man who realized too late that trust is the most dangerous currency in WWE. The unanswered questions. Who was truly pulling the strings? Roman or Tama Tonga? Can Seth recover from this collapse? Will any superstar dare to challenge Roman again, knowing how deep his manipulations run? WWE's creative universe is wide open, but one thing is certain. Trust is dead, and fear is the new currency of survival. Conclusion. Roman Reigns' unveiling of his mystery partner alongside Tama Tonga wasn't just another shocking twist. It was the single most destructive moment in Seth Rollins' career. It turned Raw into a psychological thriller, shattered friendships, and changed the balance of power across WWE. The Bloodline proved they don't just dominate inside the ring, they dominate minds, hearts, and alliances. As Seth Rollins lies broken, physically and emotionally, the tribal chief stands tall once again, proving that in his world, loyalty is temporary, betrayal is power, and acknowledging him isn't just a choice, it's survival.